Happy Wednesday, everyone. John Lorden here with a quick update on a brain scratch case that we started covering years ago, and that is a very tough mystery for a lot of people to understand. It's about the death of a young man named Kendrick Johnson, and there's really two sides that are very strong and adamant that they are correct in this case. There's the side that believes this is foul play, that Kendrick was essentially left in a rolled up gym mat to be hidden in some way for maybe an attack that had happened to him or something of that nature. And there's the other side that thinks this is a tragic accident, that Kendrick's shoes were in the bottom of that rolled up gym mat and he was sliding down head first, trying to get to them, got stuck, and suffocated. Now, if you want to look into the whole story, of course, we've got numerous videos here on the channel. You can just search Brain Scratch Kendrick Johnson, but we're also going to be recording a new episode of Seriously Mysterious about this case to take you all the way through it from the start to where it is right now. And that'll be recorded during a secret studio session this week. That could be this afternoon. It might be Friday afternoon. But if you happen to miss that, it'll be released on Seriously Mysterious next Tuesday. So if you want to get caught up with the case, you can there. But for people that have followed all these years, are looking for the latest updates, I wanted to do this video real quick to kind of let you know where it's at right now, because it seems like we've got some big movement, maybe some new hope for his family in terms of finding justice, if that's truly what is called for in this case. And that's been the big question. I can tell you guys, I haven't really looked into a case where I personally have been so split myself. And even people that supported the family initially have kind of changed position, and now they're saying, nope, now we think it's an accident. This case is very, very tough on the physical evidence aspect alone. There's been numerous court things that have happened. I'm not going to go into all of that in this video. We're just going to give you the latest. And here it is over at ajc.com. That's for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Sheriff reopens Kendrick Johnson case in Valdosta. And this is an article from March 9th, 2021. On Tuesday, 8 years after his body was discovered in a gymnasium at his Valdosta area high school, Lowndes County Sheriff Ashley Polk announced he had reopened the investigation into the 17-year-old's death, a victory for Johnson's parents, who remain convinced their son met with foul play. Quote, "We ain't cheering, but we know this is the only path that we can get for justice for Kendrick Johnson," family spokesman Marcus Coleman said after meeting with the sheriff. The investigation was closed nearly 5 years ago after federal investigators concluded there was insufficient evidence. And it's literally been like a terrible roller coaster ride for the past 8 years. And it's really been the family trying to push to find justice, to find the truth. I mean, that's another thing that's tough about this aspect. Even if you do believe that this is a terrible accident, how do you prove that? If you believe it isn't a terrible accident, how do you prove that? It's one of the biggest stalemates that I've seen in true crime since I've started looking into this type of material. And of course, on top of all that, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy for this family on either side of that. So it's one of those things too, where can you knock them? Shouldn't we be supporting them in their quest for the truth, regardless of where that leads them? And I think that's a question that a lot of people on the other side that think maybe this is a terrible accident, maybe should still be asking themselves, okay, I admit it's a terrible accident, or I believe it's a terrible accident, but shouldn't we be supporting this family in some way in terms of coming to that conclusion? And of course, there's the big question, can they ever come to that conclusion? But when you get into the details, there's a lot of things to be looked at with this case that would lead you to believe maybe not, including another development we're going to talk about here. Polk, the sheriff, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution he first met with Kenneth Johnson 5 years ago. In 2019, they wrote the Justice Department asking for documents, but were initially rebuffed, the sheriff said. Last week, federal officials finally agreed to turn over 17 boxes of materials from their 3-year probe into Johnson's death. "I'm treating it like it's a brand new case," said Polk, who will lead the probe. "There's still a lot of questions people want answered," and that is certainly true. Talking about this case publicly and having an open forum for discussion about this case, I can tell you Very tough conversations, a lot of heated feelings on both sides of this coin. And as a matter of fact, even in this article is kind of being very strong about, yep, the sheriff's reopening the investigation, but we're still getting conflicting information here. But not everyone in the sheriff's office appears to be on the same page. In an email sent last week, Captain Stride Jones, commander of the Criminal Investigation Division, told an inquiring law student the case has not been reopened. And in a separate email, Jim Elliott, the attorney for the sheriff's office, also said the case remained closed. The law student has shared those emails online. Quote, the family has provided a list of questions they seek to have answered, and the sheriff has agreed to research those answers and provide answers of clarification, wrote Jones, who has been involved in the investigation from the beginning. So it's kind of strange because a lot of the headlines and articles you're going to see around this sounds like, hey, new investigation. We're hearing quotes from the sheriff saying, I'm taking a fresh look at this. This is, being looked at essentially with new eyes at this point. But we're hearing from people that have worked on it previously. No, he's trying to answer some specific questions about the investigation. Is one of those questions, is this a homicide? Because that would certainly mean that there's a lot to explore in terms of all that. But just as usual with this case, conflicting information, two very distinct sides. Meanwhile, Polk says he hopes his probe will bring some closure, but acknowledged some minds will never be changed. This will be the final investigation as far as I'm concerned, he said. So that happened a few weeks ago. Then another round of news kind of hit around this case about a new piece of information, a new piece of evidence that could certainly be important in an investigation like this. Over at fox5atlanta.com, a Georgia sheriff says his office has received new information in the death investigation. Authorities say they have an audio recording of someone admitting to Johnson's death. According to Polk, it was Kendrick Johnson's mother, Jackie Johnson, who obtained the recording and turned it in to investigators. Quote, they had a recording that they actually purchased from someone who said that it would be valuable as far as saying who possibly had committed the crime and change their situation, Polk said. I'm leery right off the bat because of the conditions of how the tape was obtained. And we're going to get into some more detail about that. But we're talking, someone contacted them and said, I have tape, or I don't know if they contacted them after it was recorded or before, but essentially one way or another, they said, I can get a recording of someone kind of admitting to this, but it's going to cost you guys some money. I'm kind of worried about that aspect. Investigators are working to verify the recording. Quote, if it's a hoax, it's a very, very cruel hoax to do to Mrs. Johnson, said Sheriff Polk. And as a matter of fact, I hope that there might be some type of criminal charge aspect to it if they do find that it is indeed a hoax. The sheriff says his office will not be releasing the audio recording at this time. So what does it say? How much do they pay for it? Let's jump over to CBS46.com. So this is according to the family side. We have authenticated on our end a 25-second audio clip of what I can say right now appears to be a Caucasian male admitting to killing Kendrick Johnson, family spokesperson Marcus Coleman said. Coleman said they believe the tape is real, and that killer himself confessed these words in the audio recording. Quote, they're going to catch me anyways. I should have never done this. I was young and stupid. Kendrick didn't deserve this, man. Johnson said this new audio recording was captured in secret last weekend and sold to the family for $1,000 by someone they said is an alleged family member. I suppose they mean of the person of interest or potential suspect in that recording. I hope that this is a meaningful lead in this case. I'm really, really concerned about the fact that they were contacted by someone that made an offer like this, that money was exchanged for information like this. I mean, what does it tell you about the type of character of the person that's contacting them? What does it tell you about the potential that this was something generated specifically for financial gain? Admittedly, $1,000. I mean, this isn't the scam of the century. Like, I'm having trouble with it. I want to believe that there's some piece of information that can help the family understand the truth in this. I don't think that this is how it would come to them naturally. You know, guys, I deal with people that are trying to be helpful in cases on a regular basis. And does money ever come up in that conversation? Never. I can tell you guys, in the years that I've done this, in all the people that I've spoken to that had some form of information that they wanted to get in some way to help the case, money has never been a part of any of those conversations. So admittedly, I'm not a family member. I'm someone that's online talking about these cases, and maybe that changes the motivation for why people would be reaching out to me, or the expectation in terms of them reaching out to me. It just really has me concerned. I really hope this isn't another, cruel joke being played on this family. And we do hear in many of these cases where the family gets messed with by fraudsters, people that are pulling off hoaxes. I just really hope that that isn't the case here. So that's the latest on the Kendrick case. If you want to hear more about it, you can check out the old videos that are here on the channel, or just wait for the new episode of Seriously Mysterious coming next Tuesday, or hit that little bell icon down below, get the notifications turned on so maybe you can catch the secret studio recording this week and be there for when we actually put that episode together. My heart has always gone out to this family. It still goes out to this family, but it also goes out to this community. This is a community that has been pretty harshly divided for a long time. And I just hope that there's some path to healing that can be found in all this. And in 8 years, I haven't seen anything that's the groundwork for that yet. What I'm thankful here for is we have a sheriff that's saying he's going to give it a fair shot. And he's got the information from the feds, so he's able to review all their information. They came to a conclusion that there wasn't enough there for them to use. Is that really going to change with him? I don't know that we should have a very sharp expectation of that. But now we've got this kind of X factor with this new tape that's involved here. So what do you guys think about it? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. I know that this is an emotionally charged case, particularly at this time. We've got all eyes on Minneapolis right now. So I ask, let's please, please remain respectful to each other. This is a community of people that care about others in general. Let's remember to care about each other down in that comment thread as well. That being said, I think there's some important conversation that needs to be had about this. So I hope that you will help us have that in the comments down below. Take care, everyone. I will see you again here on Friday with a brand new episode of Searchlight right here on the Lord and Arch channel.